The hum of the Boeing 777 engines was the only consistent thing in my life for the last 12 hours. I sat in seat 4A, staring out at the pitch-black void over the Pacific Ocean, nursing a lukewarm glass of water. My reflection in the window looked like a ghost. Dark circles under my eyes that no amount of sleep could fix, and skin pale from 3 years of living under fluorescent office lights in Tokyo. My name is Silas. I am 32 years old, and for the last 1,095 days, I have been a machine. I work as a senior financial engineer for a major global firm. My job is to find patterns in chaos, to move millions of dollars across borders with the click of a mouse. It is high stress, high reward, and it completely consumes you. When I took the contract in Japan, I had a single goal. I wanted to pay off my mortgage. Not just any mortgage. I owned, or thought I owned, a penthouse in the Obsidian Tower in downtown Chicago. It was my sanctuary. I bought it 5 years ago, putting every cent of my bonuses into the down payment. It was valued at $900,000. To some, that is an obscene amount of money for a 2-bedroom apartment. To me, it was the price of silence. Growing up, silence was a luxury I never could afford. My parents, Vernon and Loretta, were loud people. They loved to talk, loved to argue, and loved to fill every room with clutter. And then there was Preston. My older brother. Preston took up space. He took up air. He took up money. If I had a toy, Preston broke it. If I had savings, my parents guilt me into loaning it to him because family helps family. That penthouse was my fortress. It was on the 40th floor. No street noise. No neighbors stomping on the ceiling. Just glass, steel, and the view of the lake. It was the only place on earth where I felt safe. I shifted in my seat, my back protesting against the angle. I had turned my phone off 2 days ago. Complete radio silence. I told my family I was flying back on Tuesday, but I changed my ticket to Sunday night. I wanted 24 hours alone in my apartment before I had to deal with the inevitable welcome home dinner, which would inevitably turn into a we need money dinner. I closed my eyes, visualizing the apartment. I had left it pristine. Minimalist furniture. White marble counters. And my favorite spot, the reading nook by the floor-to-ceiling window overlooking the city skyline. I imagined unlocking the door, dropping my bags, and just standing there in the quiet. That thought was the only thing that got me through the 80-hour workweeks in Shinjuku. The pilot announced our descent into O'Hare. The cabin lights flickered on. I felt a surge of adrenaline that cut through the exhaustion. I was finally going home. I checked my customs declaration form one last time. Address of residence, Unit 4001, the Obsidian Tower, Chicago. I had no idea that address didn't belong to me anymore. The airport was a blur of gray carpet and tired faces. I breezed through global entry, my passport stamping me back into the United States. It was October 15th. The air outside the terminal was biting cold, a sharp reminder that winter was coming. I didn't care. I hailed a cab and gave the driver the address. The Obsidian, huh? The driver whistled. Fancy place. It's quiet, I replied. That was all that mattered. As we wove through the traffic on the Kennedy Expressway, I turned my phone on. It vibrated instantly. Then it vibrated again. And again. A solid minute of buzzing. I glanced at the screen. 57 unread messages. 12 missed calls. Most from my mother. A few from Preston. I felt a knot of anxiety tighten in my stomach. I saw snippets of text, call me immediately, and where are you? I didn't open them. I put the phone back in my pocket. I wasn't ready. Whatever drama they had cooked up could wait until I had slept for 12 hours in my own bed. The cab pulled up to the curb. The Obsidian Tower loomed above, a sleek needle of black glass piercing the night sky. I paid the driver, tipping him $20, and grabbed my 2 suitcases. I walked up the steps, the fatigue momentarily replaced by pride. This was mine. I earned this. I pushed through the revolving doors into the lobby. The smell of expensive lilies and polished stone hit me. There was a new guy at the concierge desk, someone I didn't recognize. He was young, scrolling on a tablet. He looked at my wrinkled clothes, my messy hair, and my heavy bags with a look of mild disdain. "Good evening," I said, suppressing a yawn. "Just heading up." He looked up, polite but indifferent. "Name, sir?" "Silas. Unit 4001. I live here." I walked past him toward the elevators, fishing my key fob out of my carry-on. It was a sleek black rectangle. I approached the secure doors and tapped the fob against the reader. Nothing happened. I tapped it again. A small red light blinked on the panel. Access denied. I frowned. Maybe the battery was dead? I tried a third time, holding it there. Blink. Blink. Red. "Sir?" The concierge called out. "Do you need assistance?" I walked back to the desk, annoyed. "My fob isn't working. Can you buzz me up?" "Unit 4001. The young man typed something into his computer. He frowned. "Unit 4001? That unit is occupied, but I don't have a Silas listed as a resident." I let out a short, incredulous laugh. "Check again. I've owned it for 5 years. Silas Vance." He typed again, slower this time. Then he looked at me with a confused expression. "Sir, our records show Unit 4001 changed ownership last week. The current resident is a Mr. Calloway. In fact, Mr. Calloway complained about noise in the lobby last night, so please keep your voice down." The world tilted slightly to the left. "Excuse me? Changed ownership?" "Mr. Calloway," he repeated. "The sale closed on October 7th. The system automatically deactivates old fobs upon transfer of deed." "That is impossible," I said, my voice dropping an octave. "I didn't sell my apartment. I have been in Japan. I just landed. I don't know what to tell you, sir. The system says sold." "Call the building manager," I demanded. My hands were shaking, not from cold, but from a sudden, violent spike in heart rate. "It's 10 p.m., sir. The manager is gone." "Then call the police," I snapped. "Because if there is someone in my apartment, they are trespassing." The concierge looked alarmed. He picked up the phone, but he dialed the unit, not the cops. "I'll call up to Mr. Calloway." "Don't." "Hello? Mr. Calloway?" The concierge spoke into the receiver. "Yes, sir. I'm sorry to disturb you. There is a man here in the lobby claiming, yes. Yes, he says he owns the place." "Okay. I understand." He hung up and looked at me with pity. "Mr. Calloway says you better leave before he calls the cops himself. He has the paperwork." I didn't argue. I didn't scream. I grabbed my bags, left them at the desk, and walked straight to the elevators. "Sir, you can't go up there," the concierge shouted, coming around the desk. I ignored him. I waited for a resident to exit the elevator bank, and I caught the door before it closed. I slammed the button for the 40th floor. My blood was roaring in my ears like a jet engine. The elevator ride took 30 seconds. It felt like 30 years. My mind was racing, trying to find a logical explanation. Maybe a clerical error? Identity theft? But deep down, in the pit of my stomach, I knew. I knew exactly who was capable of this. The door slid open. The hallway was quiet. I walked to the end of the corridor, to the heavy mahogany door with the brass numbers, 4001. I didn't knock. I punched in my keypad code. 5920. Error. They had changed the code. Of course they had. I pounded on the door. "Open up. This is Silas Vance." A few seconds later, the door swung open. A man stood there. He was in his 60s, wearing a silk bathrobe and holding a glass of amber liquid. He looked wealthy, annoyed, and completely at home. "Who the hell are you?" he barked. I tried to look past him. My eyes scanned the living room. My breath hitched. My gray Italian leather sofa? Gone. Replaced by a bulky, beige floral monstrosity. My minimalist abstract art? Gone. Replaced by a painting of a ship in a storm. My clean, open surfaces? Covered in ceramic figurines and clutter. And the smell. The crisp, filtered air I loved was choked with the stench of cheap vanilla candles and stale cigar smoke. It smelled like a violation. "Where's my stuff?" I whispered. The shock was so physical it felt like I had been punched in the throat. "Get out of here before I shoot you," the man, Mr. Calloway, growled. I warned the kid downstairs. "This is my apartment." I stepped forward, pushing past him into the foyer. "I didn't sell this." "Who are you?" "I'm the owner," Calloway shouted, backing up but looking more angry than scared. He grabbed an iPad from the hallway table. "I paid cash for this place. $650,000. A steal, thanks to your brother." "My brother?" The word tasted like ash. "Preston," Calloway tapped the screen and shoved the iPad in my face. "See? Deed of sale. Signed, sealed, delivered. October 7th. I looked at the digital document. There, at the bottom, was a signature. Silas Vance. It looked exactly like my signature. The loop on the S, the sharp V. But I hadn't signed it. "He had power of attorney," Calloway sneered. "Said you were stuck overseas and needed to liquidate fast for a business emergency." "Look, buddy, I don't know what kind of family drama you have, but this is legal. I have the title." $650. I mumbled. "It's worth $900. That's why I bought it cash." Calloway took a sip of his drink. "Now get out. You're trespassing." I looked around one last time. My sanctuary. My fortress. It had been invaded, looted, and sold for parts. I looked at the floor-to-ceiling window. Even the view seemed different now, tainted by the reflection of this stranger's tacky lamp. 2 police officers appeared at the open door, breathless. The concierge must have called them. "Is this the guy?" one cop asked Calloway. "Yeah. Says he lives here." The officer looked at me. "Sir, do you have a key?" "My fob was deactivated," I said, my voice sounding hollow. "I just got back from Japan." "Show him the deed." Calloway waved the iPad. The officer glanced at the document, then at me. "Sir, this looks like a civil dispute. But right now, this gentleman has the title and the keys. You need to leave." "Civil dispute," I repeated. "It's theft." "Take it up with the court on Monday," the officer said, hand resting near his belt. "Tonight, you walk, or you ride in the back of my car." I looked at Calloway. He was smirking. A victorious little smile. He thought he had won a great deal. "Enjoy the view, Mr. Calloway," I said quietly. "Don't get too comfortable." I turned and walked out, flanked by the police. I didn't look back. The elevator doors closed, sealing off the wreckage of my life. I checked into a motel 3 miles away, near the airport. It was all I could stomach. I had plenty of money in my accounts, but spending $500 on a luxury hotel room felt wrong when my net worth had just been slashed by $1 million. The room smelled of bleach and regret. I sat on the edge of the bed and finally plugged my phone into the charger. It booted up, and the flood of messages continued. I scrolled past the call me texts and found the ones from Preston. They were dated 3 days ago. "Hey bro, when you land, we need to sign some papers for the business. Nothing big." Then, yesterday, don't go to the apartment straight away, come to Mom's first. We have a surprise. A surprise. The audacity was breathtaking. They were trying to intercept me before I found out. They probably thought they could sweet-talk me into accepting it after the fact. I dialed Preston. It was midnight. He picked up on the second ring. Background noise. Bass thumping. People laughing. Yo. Silas. He sounded drunk. Or high. Probably both. We thought you were coming Tuesday. I'm here now, I said. My voice was dangerously calm. I'm at a motel. Because the police just escorted me out of the Obsidian Tower. Oh, Preston's voice didn't drop. He actually laughed. A nervous, high-pitched giggle. Yeah. About that. We need to talk, bro. You sold my house, Preston. You sold my penthouse. Correction, he slurred. I liquidated an asset. There's a difference. Look, don't freak out. It's handled. Mom and Dad said it was okay. You forged my signature. I did not. He sounded offended now. I used the power of attorney. The one you signed before you left 3 years ago. Remember? Just in case of emergencies? I closed my eyes. I remembered signing a limited power of attorney for banking specifically to pay my bills while I settled in Tokyo. I never authorized real estate transfers. And that document expired after 1 year. That expired, Preston, I said. And it didn't cover real estate. Nah, we got it renewed. Look, stop being a buzzkill. We got $650 for it. Cash. Do you know what we can do with that? My startup is finally going to launch. CryptoBet. It's going to be huge, Silas. You're an investor now. You sold a $900,000 asset for $650,000, I said, doing the math in my head. You lost me $250,000 instantly. Where's the money, Preston? It's safe. Well, most of it. I paid off some debts. Mom and Dad needed a new roof. Bianca needed a car, she's pregnant, by the way. You're gonna be an uncle. Congrats. He was trying to bulldoze me with good news. It was a classic Preston move. Create a disaster, then sprinkle confetti on it and call it a party. I want the money back. All of it. Tomorrow. Can't do that, bro, his voice hardened. It's tied up. Investments. Operating costs. Look, you're rich. You make, what, 300 grand a year? You can buy another penthouse. Let us have this. We're family. I'm seeing you all tomorrow, I said. Lunch. The expensive steakhouse on Michigan Avenue. Noon. Bring Mom, Dad, and Bianca. And bring the paperwork. Sure. My treat. He laughed again. Since I'm the one holding the checkbook now. Welcome home, Silas. He hung up. I threw the phone onto the bed. I grabbed the water glass from the motel nightstand and threw it against the wall. It shattered. I sat there, listening to the sirens outside, feeling a cold fury settle in my chest. They thought I was the same quiet doormat I was 3 years ago. They were wrong. The steakhouse was bustling. The smell of searing meat and expensive red wine filled the air. I sat in a corner booth, wearing the same clothes I had traveled in. I looked like a wreck. My family, on the other hand, looked fantastic. Preston walked in first, wearing a designer suit that didn't quite fit his slouching posture. On his wrist was a Rolex Submariner, brand new. At least $15,000. Bianca, his wife, waddled in next. She was glowing, holding a limited edition Louis Vuitton bag. Then my parents. Vernon and Loretta. My dad was wearing a new leather jacket. My mom had had her hair done, highlights, and all. They looked like they had won the lottery. My lottery. Silas. Mom rushed over, arms open. She hugged me tight. She smelled of expensive perfume. Oh, look at you. You look so thin. Doesn't he look thin, Vernon? Working too hard, Dad grunted, clapping me on the shoulder. He wouldn't look me in the eye. They sat down. Preston flagged the waiter immediately. Bottle of the Cab Sauv. The $200 one. And appetizers. The seafood tower. He ordered like a king. I watched them, my hands folded on the table. So, Bianca smiled, showing off incredibly white teeth, probably veneers. Japan. Was it amazing? Did you eat sushi every day? I worked, I said flatly. I worked 18 hours a day for 3 years to pay for that apartment. The table went quiet. The waiter poured the wine. Preston took a big gulp. Okay, let's get the elephant out of the room, Preston said, leaning back. You're mad about the condo. I'm not mad, I said. I'm confused. I want to know why strangers are living in my home. We needed the capital, Silas, Mom said, her voice dropping to that reasonable mother tone she used when she was gaslighting me. Preston was in trouble. Bad debt. Scary people. And this business idea, it's his only way out. We couldn't let him fail. So you sold my home? You weren't using it. Bianca chimed in, aggressive. It was sitting empty. Do you know how selfish that is? We're living in a rental, expecting a baby, and you have $1 million box of air just sitting there? It's my property, I said. I bought it. With family support. Dad slammed his hand on the table. Who raised you? Who paid for your college? I paid for my college, I corrected him. Scholarships and loans. You guys didn't pay a dime. It's all the same pot. Mom waved her hand dismissively. We are a family unit. From each according to his ability, to each according to his need. You have the ability, Silas. You have a job. A career. Preston has needs. He has a family to feed, Mom added, delivering the line that cut the deepest. You're single. You don't need a penthouse. You can buy another one. Or just rent something. Why do you need so much space? I looked at Preston. He was checking his phone, bored. He didn't care. He genuinely believed he was entitled to my labor. I want the money, I said again. The $650,000. Transfer it to me today. Preston laughed. Can't. It's invested. In what? CryptoBet. It's a platform. I don't care what it is. Liquidity. Now. It's locked up, bro, lockup period. 6 months. Maybe a year. But hey, the ROI is gonna be insane. You'll thank me. I looked at the Rolex on his wrist. Is the Rolex locked up? Is Bianca's bag locked up? Bianca pulled her bag closer. This was a gift. For the baby. You bought a $2,000 bag with my housing equity for a fetus? Don't you dare speak about my child like that. Bianca shrieked. People turned to look. You are being incredibly toxic, Mom shook her head, tears forming in her eyes instantly. Crocodile tears. We welcomed you home. We ordered you food. And all you care about is money. You've changed, Silas. Japan made you cold. Japan didn't make me cold, I stood up. You did. I pulled out my phone. I had been recording the entire time. Voice memo, family dinner. I'm leaving, I said. Sit down. Dad barked. We haven't ordered entrees. Enjoy the seafood tower, I said. I hope it tastes like theft. I walked out of the restaurant. My heart was pounding, but my mind was clear. They weren't family. They were parasites. And you don't negotiate with parasites. You exterminate them. I needed to clear my head, so I went to the only other place I felt competent, my office. The firm had a Chicago branch, and I had a remote access pass. I figured I would log in, check some market trends, maybe sleep on the couch in the break room. I swiped my badge at the turnstile. Access denied. Contact security. Again? First my home, now my work. A security guard I knew, Mike, walked over. He looked uncomfortable. Mr. Vance? I need you to come with me. HR wants to see you. He escorted me not to my desk, but to a sterile conference room on the 12th floor. Sitting there was the vice president of risk management and an HR representative. Silas, the VP said without standing up. We received some disturbing communications this morning. I just got back from Japan, I said. What is going on? The HR rep slid a printed email across the table. It was sent to the company's ethics hotline. The subject line, Money Laundering and Elder Abuse by Silas Vance. My stomach dropped. I read the text. To whom it may concern, Silas Vance has been using family accounts to launder money through illegal crypto gambling sites. He has also defrauded his elderly parents and pregnant sister-in-law, promising business loans and then stealing the capital. We have evidence. It was signed, a concerned family member. This is insane, I looked up, shaking. This is my sister-in-law. My brother stole my house, and now they are trying to cover it up by attacking me. We checked the public records, the VP said. There are large cash movements between your family's accounts and offshore entities. And there is a viral Facebook post from a Ms. Bianca Vance detailing your abandonment of your family. That is a lie. They forged my signature. Silas, you are a financial engineer. You handle millions of dollars of client assets. We operate on trust. Even the appearance of financial impropriety is a fireable offense. So you're firing me because my brother is a thief? We are placing you on unpaid administrative leave pending a full investigation, the VP said. We have frozen your company accounts and revoked your license access. If you are cleared, you can return. But until then, you are a liability. I walked out of the building carrying a cardboard box with my personal items. I stood on the sidewalk, looking up at the skyscraper. In 48 hours, Preston had taken my home. Bianca had taken my reputation. And now, they had taken my career. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were cutting off my resources so I couldn't afford a lawyer to fight them. It was a siege. I had nothing to do. No job. No home. So, I drove. I drove out to the suburbs, to the house I grew up in. My parents' house. I parked down the street, hidden behind a large oak tree. The house used to look tired. Peeling paint, overgrown lawn. Now? It looked like a magazine cover. A brand new roof. Freshly painted siding in a trendy slate gray. In the driveway, next to Dad's old sedan, sat a gleaming white Porsche Cayenne. Bianca's car. I watched as a contractor truck pulled up. Men got out and started carrying supplies into the backyard. I could see the outline of an excavation. They were putting in a pool. A pool. In Chicago. My blood boiled. That was my overtime. That was my missed holidays. That was my lonely nights in Tokyo. They weren't just spending it. They were flaunting it. A knock on my car window made me jump. It was Mrs. Higgins, the neighbor. She was walking her dog. I rolled down the window. Silas? Is that you? She smiled. Oh, welcome back. I saw your mom at the grocery store. She told me the good news. What good news? I asked, gripping the steering wheel. About Preston's success. She said his tech company took off and he paid for the whole renovation. Such a good boy. And she said you were struggling a bit? That you came back because you couldn't handle the pressure in Japan? I stared at her. They had stolen my money, and then they stole my valor. They gave Preston the credit for the wealth, and painted me as the failure who crawled home. It was a masterclass in narcissism. Mrs. Higgins, I said, forcing a smile. Preston didn't pay for that roof. I did. He just stole the credit card. I rolled up the window and drove away before I did something violent. I returned to the Motel 6 as the sun was setting. I was mentally exhausted. I planned to order a pizza and pass out. But when I pulled into the parking lot, I saw a black sedan parked next to my rental car. 2 men were leaning against it. They wore leather jackets and looked out of place in a motel lot. I tried to back up, but one of them stepped in front of my car. I stopped. I locked the doors. The man walked to my window and tapped on the glass. He held up a phone. On the screen was a picture of Preston. Then he looked at me. He nodded. I rolled the window down an inch. Can I help you? You look just like him, the man said. His voice was gravel. You Preston Vance? No. I'm his brother. Silas. Right. The banker. The man smirked. Tell your brother he's hard to find. He's not answering his phone. Tell him Vinny is getting impatient. Vinny? The consulting firm, the man winked. Preston borrowed 50 large from us to double down on his crypto thing. He said the payout was coming Tuesday. It's Wednesday. The interest is ticking. He borrowed $50,000 from a loan shark? I felt sick. We prefer private equity, the man said. Tell him he has 48 hours. Or we take the Porsche. And if the Porsche isn't enough, we take kneecaps. And since you're his rich brother, maybe we come visit you again. He slapped the roof of my car and walked away. I sat there, hyperventilating. Preston hadn't just spent the $650. He had gambled it all, lost it, and then borrowed more from the mob to try and win it back. And he lost that too. Now, the sharks were circling. And because I was the rich one, they were looking at me as the backup wallet. My life wasn't just ruined. It was in danger. And that is the end of Act 2. My family has taken my home, my job, and now they have put a target on my back with the mob. They are partying in a renovated house while I am hiding in a motel. But they made one mistake. They thought I was weak. They are about to find out exactly what happens when you corner a man who has nothing left to lose. If you are enjoying this story, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Also, leave a comment below telling me, which city are you listening from? Every comment helps this story reach more people. Thank you so much. Now, let's start the hunt. Thursday morning. I didn't sleep. I spent the night researching lawyers. I needed someone mean. I didn't need a mediator, I needed an executioner. I found him. Atticus Thorne. His reviews were terrifying. He ruined my ex-husband, one read. He left me with nothing but the clothes on my back, read another. Perfect. His office was in a glass building overlooking the river, ironically close to the Obsidian Tower. Atticus was a small man, bald, with glasses that magnified his intense eyes. He didn't shake my hand. He just pointed to the chair. Talk, he said. I laid it all out. The flight logs. The biometric data from Tokyo. The forged signature. The confrontation with Calloway. The recording of the dinner. The HR suspension. The loan sharks. Atticus listened without blinking. He took notes with a fountain pen that probably cost more than my rental car. When I finished, he sat back and tented his fingers. This isn't a civil dispute, Silas, he said. His voice was dry, like sandpaper. This is grand larceny. Wire fraud. Forgery. Identity theft. Defamation. Tortious interference with a business contract. I want my house back, I said. And I want my money. Getting the house back is the easy part, Atticus waved his hand. The deed is void ab initio, void from the start. Since you didn't sign the power of attorney, the sale never legally happened. Mr. Calloway is a victim here too, technically. He bought stolen goods. He'll lose the house. And the money? That's the hard part. If they spent it, it's gone. We can sue them, get judgments, garnish their wages for the next 50 years. But you can't bleed a stone. They have a house, I said. My parents own a home in the suburbs. Paid off. And they just put a new roof on it with my money. Atticus raised an eyebrow. You willing to take your parents' house? Evict them? I thought about Mrs. Higgins. I thought about the text messages. I thought about Preston laughing. Yes, I said. Take it all. Atticus smiled. It was a terrifying sight. Okay. But I need to warn you. Once I file this, there is no going back. Your brother will go to prison. Not probation. Prison. 5 to 10 years. Your parents could be charged as accessories. Your sister-in-law too. You will be sending your entire family to hell. Are you ready to be an orphan? I looked at the view of the city. I've been an orphan for years, Atticus. I just didn't know it. Good, Atticus uncapped his pen. Retainer is 10,000. Let's go hunting. We needed to prove where the money went. If I could prove they didn't invest in a business, that they just blew it, I could destroy their, he promised to fund us, defense. I called Jax. Jax was a friend from my college days, a cybersecurity wizard who now worked as a forensic accountant for the FBI. He owed me a favor. We met at a secure internet cafe in a basement. I gave him the routing numbers for the joint account the money had landed in. I shouldn't be doing this without a warrant, Jax muttered, typing furiously on his Linux laptop. But if they really forged your signature, screw 'em. It took him 20 minutes to crack the transaction history. Okay, Jax whistled. Here's the flow. 650,000 enters the account on October 7th. Where did it go? October 8th. 300,000 wired to Bit Global Exchange. That's an offshore crypto wallet based in Malta. Is that the startup? No, Jax laughed. That's a gambling site. High-leverage crypto betting. Your brother didn't start a business, Silas. He bet half your house on the equivalent of a digital coin toss. Did he win? Nope. Balance is 0. He lost it all in 4 hours. My stomach turned. 300 grand. Gone in 4 hours. What else? October 9th. 110,000 to Autohouse Chicago. Purchase of a Porsche Cayenne. Bianca's car for the baby, I said, disgusted. October 10th. 50,000 to Miller Renovations. That's the roof and pool. And the 50,000 for Vinny? Jax typed some more. Here it is. 50,000 wire transfer to Vince Consulting LLC. That's a shell company. Known associate of the Chicago Organized Crime Syndicate. That's your loan shark payment. Print it, I said. Print everything. Jax handed me the stack of papers. This was it. This was the smoking gun. They weren't entrepreneurs. They were degenerates. They gambled my life's work and bought luxury cars while I was eating convenience store bento boxes in Tokyo. Thanks, Jax, I said. Silas, Jax grabbed my arm. This sends them away for a long time. This is federal wire fraud. And money laundering. You sure? I'm sure. The final piece of the puzzle was the notary. The woman who stamped the fake power of attorney. Her name was Brenda Miller. She ran a small shipping and printing shop in a strip mall. Atticus said we needed her to flip. If she claimed she verified my ID, it would be my word against hers. But if she admitted she took a bribe. I waited in my rental car outside her shop for 3 hours. It was pouring rain. Finally, at 6 p.m., she locked up and walked to her car. I got out and intercepted her. "Brenda Miller?" She jumped, dropping her keys. "Who are you?" "I'm Silas Vance." Her face went pale. She knew the name. I don't know what you want." "I'm closed." "You notarized a document on October 14, 2022, I said, holding up a copy of the forgery. "You said I was in your office." "I was in Japan." "I don't remember," she stammered, trying to unlock her car door. "I see a lot of people." "I know Preston paid you," I said. "And I know Bianca dropped off the cash." "Leave me alone." I stepped closer. "Brenda, listen to me. Preston owes money to people named Vinny." "Do you know who Vinny is?" She stopped moving. "He's the mob," I said. "Preston is involved with loan sharks. The FBI is looking into his finances. They are looking into everyone he paid. That includes you." I didn't know about the mob," she whispered. "If you stick to your story, you go down for notary fraud and maybe conspiracy with organized crime," I said. "But my lawyer, Atticus Thorne, can cut you a deal. You sign an affidavit saying Bianca bribed you, and we keep you out of the federal indictment." She looked at me, rain dripping down her glasses. She was terrified. "5,000, she said quietly. "They gave me $5,000. My husband needed surgery." "I'm sorry." "Don't tell me," I said. "Tell my lawyer. Tomorrow morning at 9. She nodded. I had her. The lock was picked. That night, the storm broke. I was back in the motel, reviewing the files. At 3 a.m., there was a frantic pounding on my door. "Silas! Silas, open up! It's me." It was Preston. I looked through the peephole. He was soaked, his hair plastered to his skull. He looked like a wild animal. I opened the door but kept the chain on. "What do you want?" "You have to help me," he begged, his eyes wide and bloodshot. "The accounts are frozen. I tried to buy gas and my card didn't work. Mom's card didn't work." Atticus moved fast. He must have filed the ex parte motion that afternoon. "Yeah," I said. "It's called an asset freeze. The court granted it. You have to unfreeze it." Preston screamed, grabbing the door frame. "I need $50,000 by tomorrow morning." "Vinny said he's going to break my legs, Silas. He knows where I live." "You should have thought about that before you gambled my house away," I said coldly. "I'm your brother," he sobbed. "Please. Just 50 grand. I'll pay you back. I swear. The crypto is gonna hit." He was delusional. Even facing death, he still thought the gamble would pay off. I looked at him. This was the boy I shared a bunk bed with. This was the boy who taught me how to ride a bike. For a second, I felt a tug of pity. I could write a check. I could save his legs. Then I remembered the smirk. I remembered the text messages. I remembered him laughing while I was homeless in the lobby. I remembered him stealing my credit for the roof. "I can't help you, Preston," I said. "The money is gone. You spent it." "You're killing me," he shrieked. "You are literally killing me." "No," I said, closing the door. "You killed yourself. I'm just burying the body." I shut the door and locked the deadbolt. I heard him crying and pounding for another 10 minutes. Then, tires screeched, and he was gone. Friday morning was chaos. The temporary restraining order, TRO, was in full effect. Atticus had nuked their financial lives from orbit. I wasn't there to see it, but I heard about it from the court transcripts later. Bianca was at yoga. When she walked out to the parking lot, a tow truck was hooking up the white Porsche. "What are you doing?" she screamed, dropping her yoga mat. "Repossession order," the driver said, handing her a slip. "Asset seized as evidence in the matter of Vance versus Vance." She tried to call Preston, but her phone service had been cut off because the autopay failed. She was left standing in the rain, pregnant and furious. My parents went to the grocery store. They filled a cart with expensive steaks and wine. When Dad swiped his card, the machine beeped loudly. Declined. He tried another. Declined. He tried to withdraw cash from the ATM account. Frozen. Contact legal department. The cashier took the card away while a line of people watched. The humiliation was absolute. I sat in Atticus's office, drinking an espresso. It was the first time I felt relaxed in a week. "The freeze is total," Atticus said, putting down the phone. "Every dime they have, every account linked to your name or the stolen funds, is locked. They can't buy a gallon of milk without asking the judge for permission." "Good," I said. "Mr. Calloway is also suing them," Atticus added. "He realized he bought a stolen house. He's furious. He's joining our suit against Preston for fraud." It was a pincer movement. They were trapped between me, the law, and the angry buyer. The walls were closing in. Chapter 14, The Social Media War. Target word count, 600 words. Desperation makes people stupid. Instead of apologizing, Bianca decided to burn the world down. She posted my cell phone number on Facebook. "This is the number of the man who is starving his pregnant sister-in-law. Let him know what you think of child abusers." My phone exploded. Death threats. Pictures of dead animals. People telling me to kill myself. Then, a brick crashed through the window of my motel room. Wrapped around it was a note: "Leave town, rich boy." I called Atticus, shaking with rage. "They doxed me. They threw a brick." "Stay calm," Atticus said, his voice soothingly evil. "Did you keep the brick?" "Yes." "Good. That's assault. And inciting violence. And violation of the TRO. We are adding it to the pile. I'm filing for an emergency gag order. If she posts one more word, she goes to jail tonight." Atticus contacted Facebook Legal. The post was taken down in an hour. Then, he released a statement to the local press. Not a rant, but a simple PDF containing the forensic accounting of the gambling debts and the Porsche purchase. The headline the next day was brutal: "Family fundraiser or casino fund? Viral mom accused of gambling brother's home equity." The public sentiment flipped instantly. The internet hates a scammer more than it hates a rich banker. Bianca's comments section turned into a war zone. She deleted her account by noon. Chapter 15, The Betrayal of Parents. Target word count, 600 words. Sunday afternoon. My phone rang. It was Mom. I debated answering. But I needed to hear it. I hit record. "Silas?" Her voice was trembling. "Silas, please." "What do you want, Mom?" "We are starving," she sobbed. "Literally. We have no food in the house. Your father's heart medication is empty and we can't pay the pharmacy. The accounts are all locked." "You have a pantry full of food," I said. "And you have the $5,000 you took for the renovation. Use cash." "We gave it to Preston," she wailed. "To pay the bad men. But it wasn't enough. Silas, they are going to take our house. Atticus sent us a letter saying he's seizing the deed." "He is. We are your parents. We raised you. How can you do this? You stole from me, Mom. You chose Preston. You always choose Preston. We can fix this." She lowered her voice. "Listen. If you drop the suit against us, we will testify against Preston. I froze. What? We will tell the judge it was all his idea, she said hurriedly. That he forced us. That he threatened us. We can be your witnesses. Just let us keep the house. I felt a cold hollowness in my chest. They were offering up their favorite son as a sacrifice to save their own skins. They had no loyalty to anyone. Not to me. Not even to Preston. They were just survivors. Does Preston know you're calling me? I asked. No. Don't tell him. Just make the deal, Silas. I have you on recording, Mom, I said. Offering to perjure yourselves. No. Silas. No deals, I said. You're going down with the ship you built. I hung up. I sent the recording to Atticus. 2 weeks later. The deposition. We were all in a conference room. Me, Atticus, Preston, Bianca, my parents, and their court-appointed public defender. Preston looked terrible. He had a black eye. Vinny must have paid him a visit. He was twitchy, sweating through his shirt. Bianca refused to look at me. My parents stared at the table. Atticus started the questioning. Mr. Vance, he asked Preston. Did you forge the signature? I plead the fifth, Preston muttered. Mrs. Vance, Atticus turned to Mom. Did you know about the forgery? I plead the fifth, she whispered. It was boring. They were stonewalling. Then Atticus smiled. I would like to enter Exhibit C into the record. A phone call dated October 23 between Silas Vance and Loretta Vance. He pressed play on his laptop. My mother's voice filled the room, loud and clear. It was all his idea. He forced us. Just let us keep the house. The room went deadly silent. Preston slowly turned his head to look at his mother. His eyes were wide with betrayal. You rat, he hissed. I didn't mean it. Mom cried, reaching for him. I was just trying to help. You tried to sell me out? Preston screamed. He lunged across the table at his own mother. The bailiff tackled him. The table flipped. Papers flew everywhere. Dad was shouting. Bianca was screaming. I sat there, sipping my water, watching them tear each other apart. Deposition concluded, Atticus said calmly to the court reporter. The district attorney smelled blood. With the recording and the fight, the family defense was shattered. They offered a plea deal. The DA called Atticus. They want to deal, Atticus told me. Preston pleads guilty to fraud. 2 years in prison. Parents get probation. They agree to restitution. No, I said. Preston gets 5 years. Or we go to trial. Silas, 2 years is a lot. He laundered money for the mob, I said. Jax found more. He wasn't just gambling. He was washing cash for Vinny through the crypto site. That's why he owed them. He skimmed off the top. I handed Atticus the new report from Jax. Atticus whistled. Okay. This changes things. This is money laundering. We sent the new evidence to the DA. The plea deal was pulled off the table. The charges were upgraded. State charges became federal charges. Preston wasn't looking at 2 years anymore. He was looking at 10. When Preston heard the news, he tried to call me again. I didn't answer. I just watched the voicemail transcribe, please 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 please. It was too late. The machine was in motion. The trial began in January. The courtroom was packed. The local news was there. The Penthouse family feud had become a local sensation. Mr. Calloway took the stand first. He was a great witness for me, simply because he was so unlikable. He screamed at Preston's lawyer. I paid cash. I want my money. That boy is a thief. The jury looked at Preston with disdain. Then came Brenda, the notary. She cried on the stand. She pointed at Bianca. She gave me the envelope. It had $50 bills. She said it was a tip for rushing the paperwork. Bianca shook her head, sobbing silently, playing the pregnant victim. But the jury wasn't buying it. The bank records showed the withdrawal from Bianca's account matching the deposit into Brenda's. The math didn't lie. Then it was my turn. I took the stand. I kept my voice flat. Professional. Atticus projected my passport on the screen. October 14th. Entry stamp, Narita Airport, Tokyo. Then the power of attorney. Date signed, October 14th. Location, Chicago. Mr. Vance, Atticus asked. Can you be in 2 places at once? I cannot. Did you sign this? I did not. Then Atticus played the startup card. He put the graph of the crypto gambling on the screen. This is not a business plan, Atticus said to the jury. This is a downward spiral. I looked at Preston. He wasn't looking at me. He was staring at the table, drawing circles with his finger. He looked small. The arrogance was gone. The Rolex was gone. He was just a man in a cheap suit facing the end of his life. Chapter 20, The Verdict and Sentencing. Target word count, 600 words. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. They came back with a verdict. Preston Vance, guilty. Wire fraud. Aggravated identity theft. Money laundering. Bianca Vance, guilty. Conspiracy to commit fraud. Vernon and Loretta Vance, guilty. Conspiracy. The sentencing hearing was a week later. Judge Reynolds didn't hold back. Mr. Preston Vance, you preyed on your brother's trust. You involved your elderly parents and your pregnant wife in a criminal enterprise to fund a gambling addiction. You are a danger to your family's financial safety. Sentence, Preston, 6 years in federal prison. Bianca, 5 years probation and 500 hours of community service, spared prison only because of the newborn baby. Parents, 3 years probation. And full financial restitution. To pay the restitution, the court ordered the seizure of assets. The white Porsche? Sold at auction. My parents' house? Seized. They had 30 days to vacate. The new roof they bought with my money now belonged to the bank. As the bailiffs handcuffed Preston, he finally looked at me. You happy? He shouted, spit flying. You destroyed us. You're dead to me, Silas. I was dead to you the moment you signed my name, I replied calmly. I'm just the ghost haunting you now. I got the keys back the next day. I walked into Unit 4001. Calloway had taken his stuff. The apartment was empty. But the smell was still there. Stale smoke. Bad memories. I walked to my reading nook. I sat down. I waited for the feeling of peace. I waited for the satisfaction of victory. It didn't come. I felt nothing. The silence wasn't a sanctuary anymore. It was a tomb. I looked at the kitchen island and saw the ghost of my mother gaslighting me. I looked at the door and saw Preston smirk. I couldn't live here. I had won the war, but the battlefield was poisoned. I called a real estate agent that afternoon. Sell it, I said. But Silas, you just fought the world to get it back. I fought for the principle, I said. I don't want the box. Sell it. Full market value. 8 months later. I am sitting on the porch of a cabin in Montana. I sold the penthouse for $920,000. I took that money, plus the restitution checks that trickle in every month from my parents' garnished wages, and I vanished. I quit my job. I trade my own portfolio now using Starlink internet. I have no neighbors for 10 miles. Just trees, mountains, and snow. I heard updates through the grapevine. Preston is having a hard time in prison. He owes debts he can't pay. Bianca divorced him and moved to Ohio. My parents live in a subsidized apartment. They work as greeters at Walmart. They lost their friends, their reputation, and their home. Yesterday, I received a letter. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting. Mom. I hold it in my hand now. I open it. It's a 4-page rant. How can you sleep at night? We are old. We are suffering. We are family. You have millions. Send money. We forgive you. We forgive you. The audacity is impressive. Even now, after everything, they think they are the ones granting forgiveness. I walk over to my fire pit. I strike a match. I hold the corner of the letter and watch the flame curl the paper. We are family, turns to black ash. Send money, disappears in smoke. I drop it into the pit and watch it burn until it is nothing but dust. I am alone out here. Some people would say I'm lonely. But as I listen to the wind through the pines and the crackle of the fire, I realize something. I'm not lonely. I'm free. I escaped a cage I didn't even know I was in. I take a sip of whiskey. The silence is finally mine. I'm currently sitting on my porch, watching the sunset over the mountains, finally at peace. But sometimes I wonder, my mother is now living in a shelter because of my lawsuit. Am I the asshole for not leaving them enough to survive, or did they dig their own graves? Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed seeing justice served, please hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. Let me know in the comments, would you have forgiven the parents, or was I right to burn that bridge forever? I read every comment. See you in the next story.